All right, y'all. Today we're looking at this boudoir photography business, and for its local searches, city searches, we're going to see if it has BSS. Now we're back here in the GBC universe, where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So got our FSIC, kind of our graph here in white. Highest intent people on the left, Google search, social search, so searching for boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. The videos talk about here, dealing with that, BSS. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps. We got to reach them through interruption ads, Facebook, Instagram. They are not searching for boudoir photo shoot in their city right now, and they most likely have no idea what the heck it even is. So we talk about that in our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And currently over there, we currently only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so BSS, boudoir search sameness. So boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. 0 slots, we're dead. If we're on page 2 or deeper only, and that's because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market, which would be the buyers from page 2. We got to be on page 1. And 1 slot on page 1 is not good enough either, because everyone, literally everyone is, the other 9 boudoir photographers that'll be there, because organic search has 10 slots on Google. And then other boudoir photographers, everyone's got 1 slot. We're looking the same as everyone else. We're still invisible, not looking at anything special. And boudoir photographers, or buyers, when they go and search, they're actually approximately 80% only use page 1. So they click on everyone on page 1, open up their website, fill out their contact form, contact them, price shop, compare, you know, and drive margins down, drive price down, negotiate, waste everyone's time. And so BSS is just bad for everyone. Well, bad for all boudoir photography businesses. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. So it's common, it's accepted, it's not normal. It's 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So basically everyone knows market saturation. Yeah, you'll get new gear over time, new iPhone, new camera, and then decide to start posting or, throw out their Google My Business profile saying they offer boudoir photo shoots now. Or, and they got their boudoir website ranking page 1 on Google, competing with all of us. And they're also posting them on Facebook groups, and they shoot boudoir now, offer boudoir shoots now. So everyone knows about that. Kind of more sellers for the same number of buyers makes it harder for each seller. Also saw a ton during COVID. People lost their jobs but still need to earn money. And as a result, they actually went and, basically they went and had super saturation in a lot of cities. Now, false belief page 1 equality, very few people know about that, if any. And this is basically assuming every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. And it's kind of a coin flip if you get 0 or 1. And maybe you did have 1 slot on page 1 on Google, but then someone else ranked better with their new website, that entered the marketplace. So you got kicked off to page 2, and then you're like, oh, well, that's simply how it is. And then you hope they delete their website and Google de-indexes them so you can get back onto page 1. Wrong, wrong, wrong. This is 100% incorrect. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know that Google will actually give as many page 1 slots as you want to put in the effort to acquire. 100% guaranteed. And I know because I've done it. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, DBP. Yeah, man. So if you're on page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the market, you're obviously disappearing. And if you're on page 1 but only have 1 link, looking the same as the other 9 competing boudoir photographers there, you're also disappearing. You're invisible. Your margins are definitely disappearing, even if you are getting inquiries. And as a result, we say this DBP, disappearing boudoir photographer with BSS, it's kind of the check engine light, the first flag, the canary in the coal mine that the boudoir photography business itself is going on a path to totally disappearing. Luckily, we found the solution. We found it because we discovered it and we created it. We found that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And I mean, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. That's kind of like the snow at the top of the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America, the east side. And, that snow melts, goes into small streams, small rivers, and then it all flows into the massive Amazon River. That's page one on Google search, but it all starts with the snow up at the top. That's our social search saturation. Without the snow, there ain't no rivers. And this is actually the only solution for boudoir photographers I've seen that can still allow boudoir photography business to grow in spite of massive market saturation relatively quickly without even having a brand, a large known brand. And we know because, brands take 5 to 10 years to build up a large known brand. Dude, we ain't got 5 to 10 years. AI's here taking people's jobs. We need maximum exposure, page one, social search, Google search right now. And so waiting to build a brand ain't going to do that. And actually, my estimate is utilizing S-cubed methodology will actually speed up the process of having a large, well-known brand by approximately 8x. So imagine you're a large, well-known brand, people come to you, and you're still utilizing S-cubed methodology, you'd basically be untouchable, no matter how much market saturation is there. So an example for S-cubed methodology allowing or enabling a boudoir photography business to still grow in the face of market saturation is, let's say we got 1 million boudoir photographers in LA, and we're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they shoot boudoir photography, and they are, everyone's got their website trying to rank page one on Google. There's only 10 slots for 1 million boudoir photographers. Insanely competitive. Everyone's been price shopped down to zero margin because there's so many competitors. And as a result, we are, since we don't have a brand, the only other solution we got is S-cubed methodology. So we take it, we crank it up to the max. Now, let's say for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, what actually happens is, let's say we're taking up the first 300 slots on social search for all sorts, social media platforms for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. And as a result, that flows onto Google page one, and we actually get 300 slots for Google. All the first 10 slots, it's 10 organic slots per page. So the first we're taking out basically the first 30 pages is essentially only us. So boudoir buyer would basically have to go to page 31 to find any of our competitors on Google, and same on social search. So that's a social search, scroll down all the way to slot 301. And so in this case, whose business is growing? If we're taking up essentially all the slots, anyone, everywhere, wherever anyone looks on social search. Well, we're probably the only business still growing because we're essentially the only one they can find. Everywhere they look, it's only us. So, this is a maximum example, but this is the magic of S-cubed methodology that could happen. Now, once treated with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. And we get a second initial benefit, which is we're able to kick competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. So this actually benefited a lot of boudoir photographers more. This is the more slots we get. Page one, first benefit, we actually kick our competing boudoir photographers off page two, second benefit, making them invisible to the approximately 80% of boudoir buyers searching on Google. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. We care about, the GBC universe recommends to have 3 out of 10 minimum number of slots page one on Google. And the reason for that is, basically everyone else is going to have 1 slot. So our 3 slots versus 1, they're 1. We're going to look amazingly exceptional against them. And on the rare chance someone has 2 slots, well, we're dominating them as well. That's kind of basically guaranteeing us winning in all scenarios. And obviously we can increase that above 3 if we want. And a boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality, or the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, we finally now have a solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results, quick results with me, utilizing S-cubed methodology for myself. I want to dominate page one on Google for this search term, BLCS boudoir. So I started with 0 out of slots, page 1, 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. And I started utilizing SQ methodology. So here we go. Organic Instagram slot, page 1, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. And so I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search in only 10 days, purely utilizing SQ methodology. Did not even have a website. So these are the results I've gotten with it. Now, onto the main event here. We're going to see if this boudoir photography business, see if it's got BSS for its local or its city search, see if it's hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google. So let's get into this. We're going to Germantown, Tennessee, and Memphis, Tennessee. All right, so what we got here. We're in Germantown, Tennessee. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, we got 1. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 for local search. Let's go to city. City is always harder to rank for. It's more people competing. Oh, nice. We got organic slot 1. That's great. So we got 1 out of 10. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 here. We got 1 out of 10 for local. We got 1 out of 10 for Memphis. So yeah, dude, we got BSS for both, and we are hitting the GBC universe recommended minimum. A 3 out of 10. Neither of those searches. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've actually gone and done the local search for the highest intent keywords for your locale, and you've also done it for your city, and you've seen that you got at least one of those has BSS, or you see that at least one you are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, then you're seeing this SQ methodology like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. Maybe you had been thinking, how can we get more slots on page 1 on Google? So maybe you'd already broken through the false belief of page 1 quality, but now you're like, yes, SQ methodology, that's what I've been looking for. Even though you kind of didn't know what to expect or what it would look like, but you decided, yes, SQ methodology is your way to move forward. So you're like, heck yeah. And you're also understanding the initial benefits of it. More slots, page 1. The 2 initial benefits: more slots, page 1 on Google, kicking more competing with boudoir photographers off page 1, off to page 2, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. And you understand the 2 prongs of market saturation. Getting new iPhone or getting new camera, so getting new gear, and you're looking ahead and you're saying, well, you understand AI is going to be taking a ton of people's jobs. So you're like, okay, that is actually going to be the biggest flood, the biggest force of more boudoir photographers into the marketplace, or people who are even those who are new to boudoir photography. Going to compress margins for everyone, lower prices for everyone, going to basically force more competition, page 1 Google search. And so you're saying, all right, I actually need to not only get this many links on page 1, you also need to fortify your position right now in preparation for all the new boudoir photographers coming into the market after AI starts taking more and more people's jobs every single day. And you're seeing SQ methodology is also a perfect thing for that as well. It's kind of like building the levees in Nolens, Louisiana, where that city is below sea level. And so once that happens, you're basically seeing the future right now. So you're like, the more links, momentum you can build up to get page 1 links on Google, the higher chance that the new boudoir photographers never even reach page 1, never even reach the links, on Google page 1. And so when you, so you're seeing that, and SQ methodology is the way forward, and you want to increase achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you need those things in order to become #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also understand kind of the long-term back-end benefits of successfully executing this SQ methodology every single day. And these successful benefits are, basically you're building up kind of these columns, these mindshare columns of peeps who are, kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns that actually, they're kind of like invisible. They're columns attached to the Parthenon in Athens are kind of like invisible columns, like hubs, hub and spoke model. So like spokes onto a hub. And these things exist kind of like as AI mindshare. So you understand the future benefits, which is actually the more we successfully execute methodology, the higher probability we're going to be sort of appear AI overview on AI search. And so the probability kind of builds and builds and builds every single day that we do successfully execute methodology. And also the same goes for backend search. Um, like AI search, like ChatGPT search, like we got Perplexity, Claude, we got Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, and you're seeing other feature benefits as we're successfully executing execute methodology actually increase the probability we get at least on AI search for all those as well. So I know last time I searched for Boudoir photographers in a city, ChatGPT, it literally recommended 3. And I actually went to go on Google for myself to look at, okay, how many are actually going to be, are actually out here. Dude, there's like 60, like Google Maps and Google Search all combined. And so I was like, all right, we got to do something to really increase the probability that we're increasing search here. That we get on these, because I know I don't standard Google search anything. I'm always using the Google AI overview. And so I know, yeah, standard Google search is still like approximately 90% of all searches, all the search market globally. But dude, AI search getting bigger and bigger every day. So you're seeing that, and you want to actually get kind of those bonuses, those momentum of being shown in the increase the probability get shown in these searches. And as a result, you also understand that you decide to hop on this first because you'll be actually be able to build a ton of momentum and separate yourself from all your competitors. Because I basically own, my plan currently is to only work with one Boudoir photographer in each city. So you're seeing you can kind of close off your competitors from using this and put a massive gap between you and them before they even know what's going on, before they even know we've put in the effort to completely dominate page 1 Google search. And conversely, you're seeing that, oh man, if one of your competitors actually, if one of your competitors actually hops on this first and works with me, well then you'd have to rederive SQ methodology on your own correctly. And when you do that, you would never be 100% confident if you did it, derived it correct or not. And what would actually happen is you have to equal our execution. And when you equal our execution, you would simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor would have already built up, kind of above you or ahead of you. So you'd maintain that gap. You'd actually have to double or triple our daily output of execution and of SQ methodology to close that gap, kind of pull that AI mindshare brain momentum for those invisible thematic keyword columns away from your competitor and me and back towards yourself. And so it's like, dude, who's got the 80 hours in a day to do all that? So you decide, screw that. You're going to be the number 1 first mover in your city. Lock the other peeps out. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM. My hospital is currently closed for new patient intake right now. So my DMs are currently closed. But when I do open up the hospital for new patient intake, then shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify to utilize our S cubed methodology.